Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Darren, and a few days ago I made a video describing the idea where people are trying to figure out the new main and how Legion is a perfect time to be doing that for the next expansion. When trying to figure out what main you want to play, some people look for playstyle, other people look for variety. Some people might be more inclined to go with a leatherware because they like the outfits that you can get for transmog, or a cloth hero plate. But there's definitely a good chunk of people who literally want to play the strongest class in the game and have the most amount of opportunity out of the game. So when people ask about the strongest class in the game, particularly in PvP, I try not to lead people towards the direction. But since there's so many people that ask about the strongest classes for PvP right now, strongest classes that might be really strong next expansion, I decided to put a video list together. Now, I am a biased person, and I would tell you outright that you should play Outlaw. Even though it's RNG and basically deals 0 damage most of the time, the burst for it is insane, the crowd control is amazing, and I love the mobility. And being a pirate beats out most of the choices you get in the game anyway. I mean, you're an actual pirate, like Jack Sparrow, my spirit animal. But because I don't want to be biased, I have a bias of my own in terms of what classes I think are strongest, because I played from a rogue perspective as well as an outlaw perspective. So some classes are going to be really strong for me to go up against. So instead of selecting my opinions, let's just go with the general WoW public as it is. World of Warcraft community is a great community that is pretty vocal, whether it be on WoW forums, MMO champion forums, Wowhead forums, you name it. So I'm going to create this video mostly with the opinions and forum posts from people from various World of Warcraft communities. Let the community tell you which classes they think are the strongest for PvP. Let's start with number 1, and this is not in any particular order in terms of classes. I'm not taking them from the strongest to the least strongest, from most overpowered to least overpowered. It's really just top 4 that I decided to pick from forum posts, non-specific order. Before I actually go into the list, I do want to let you guys know, none of these classes are literally face roll. Well, maybe one of them at least, but a lot of these classes take skill to figure out how to play, and only some of the players that have the most skill, the most experience in these classes can make them seem and look and play like as if they're overpowered, unstoppable machines. So a lot of these classes, if played at a max highest level, can literally feel overpowered out of the wazoo. But even if somebody who is maybe not the most experienced at a class, even people that are intermediate or halfway to advanced, those guys can do still a lot of damage playing all of these classes. And that's really how we're trying to figure out and describe what OP is. OP means it's either can deal a lot of damage without too much experience required, like a mage, or it's something that can be really strong, almost godlike in the right hands. So before we went on with the video, I did want to establish what I mean by overpowered, because everybody has their own definition. So with that being said, let's get on to the video. But we'll go with this. First one on the list is a Frost Death Knight. Now, I do realize that Frost Death Knights recently took a pretty big nerf bat to the face. I mean, your basic ability that increases your strength by 20% was almost halved, but does that stop Frost Death Knights? Doesn't look like it. Frost Death Knight is still maintained to have probably some of the strongest damage out there in the game. While not very mobile, you're basically like a tank. You're pretty slow, but when you're hitting, you are hitting pretty hard. You have strong, great AoE cleave. That means anything in front of you, whether it's 5, whether it's 10, whether it's 20 enemies in front of you, you can hit them all for basically the same amount of number. The more enemies, the more damage you do. Also, Frost Death Knights have extremely good, strong single target burst. So if you are somebody who hates having to train down healers, you hate having to go through Paladins and the fact that they can just hit you back to heal, or Resto Druids sitting in bear form the whole time, or Resto Shamans dropping the totems everywhere, maybe you might even be tired of priests that are just unhittable, unCCable, unkillable like Holy. Frost Death Knight doesn't care who you are gonna get straight up shredded through all of their burst. Even if they're trying to nerf it, that spec still hits so hard, it's not even funny. Number 2 on the list is a Retribution Paladin, and this one is something I would agree with, mostly because we've been able to see Red Paladins perform well in our 5-5-1v1 dueling series, as well as the rest of the community having pretty strong opinions on them. A Red Paladin is a plate-wearing warrior with healing spells, absorb spells, range spells, and overall holy magic, which doesn't care whether you wear plate or cloth, it will still hit you for a lot. This class has two different immunities. One is an immunity from physical abilities, which you can put on yourself or others, still allowing those classes to hit with physical damage or cast spells if they are a caster or a melee, as well as just an overall massive immunity of bubble. I mean, Frost Mage has one ice block, or two if you use a separate ability for it. Shadow Priest has one disperse. Demon Hunters have one immunity if the talent into it, but Paladin comes with two immunities off the bat. The class has powerful cleave, so think Frost Death Knights kind of cleave. The more enemies stack on top of you, the more damage you do, and you have fairly short cooldowns for a lot of your abilities. Red Paladins are told that they're not really mobile, but a lot of people do say, after playing the Red Paladin, while not really feeling mobile, you still are basically a Frost DK with slightly better mobility and better utilities. You have Pony, which you can just summon at any moment, which will give you a burst of speed. Hand of Freedom, which allows you to ignore slows. You have fairly strong slows at a range as a fairly short-ish cooldown, 30 seconds. As for most part, the spec either has range in order to deal with enemies that keep kiting you, or slows. The next class on the list is Demon Hunter, and for the longest time did I talk about how Demon Hunters feel like a Swiss Army knife. They can do everything. You have strong mobility as well as flying. You have amazing cleave and flying. You are kind of squishy and you have one cool immunity and fairly short cooldowns, and oh yeah, flying. Like, this class can fly. I mean, out of all the things, if let's say you're fighting with an enemy and the situation gets hairy, you can just jump off a cliff and fly way away. Whether the enemy has flying mount or not, you can just get away from the situation, mount up and run off and escape a situation. Very mobile class, lots of cleave capability. That means the more enemies stack in, the more damage you do without having to sacrifice single target damage. As well as flag runners. As a tank Demon Hunter, you're probably the best flag runner in the game. The mobility of a tank Demon Hunter is hilarious. I mean, it's awesome. It sometimes might feel a little bit OP, maybe a little bit too strong for some people, but it's just funny to watch Demon Hunter run around in a full demon form Godzilla mode, just leaping around with a flag and running the flags, ignoring all damage done to them, while still being able to do decent damage. So I'll put Demon Hunters as part of the overpower list. Of course, these guys, compared to Red Paladin and Frost DK, are a little bit on the skillful side because, again, they're really squishy. You can die fairly easy. So there is a bit of a skill cap coming into this class. The last class on the list, and a lot of you guys will have to agree with me if you have been watching my 5-hour-1 duels for the longest time, are Windwalker monks. And this one I can easily say without even a shadow of a doubt. They're very mobile, they have great damage, they have great healing, and overall they are a very strong melee. They recently did get nerfed in Legion as of this current patch, so it's hard to tell if they're gonna be bad. But for the most part, it's some form of, hey, let's take damage out of these abilities, put damage in these, and it's only 10%, so it can't be that bad. Overall, the class is great. It's one of the fastest moving classes in BG. Do you want to do 2 rolls, a speed up as well as a tiger kick across the map, and in order to be at the enemy's flag base while everybody only gets to half the map? You could do that. That's what monks are great for. And as well as massive damage over burst, monks have probably one of the coolest lineups. It's basically similar to a rogue. They will stun you. They'll keep you from playing the game. So you either have a trinket to get out of it, or you don't. If you don't, you're dead, because the damage they can put out once they have all their cooldowns is pretty nutty. As well as arenas. In arenas, they're great. They have a teleport ability. All the mobility puts them together. They actually heals they get to each other or for themselves is awesome. The CC they bring into an arena team as well is awesome. The amount of damage and healing and overall utility monks bring in terms of like self-control and self-responsibility is amazing. And it would be hard for me not to add this, but as an Outlaw Rogue, Windwalker Monks is one of those classes that hard counters Outlaw. I mean, Red Paladins do it too, but Windwalker Monks hard counter Outlaw harder than Reds. So for me in particular, I would say yes, to me as an Outlaw, those guys are strong. But overall, with how many 1v5s and 1v4s we had on our 5v5 1v1 series, I would say Monks are probably still holding the biggest trophies from previous expansion and current, out of all the ones we've done so far. Overall, a great dueling class, great for 2s, 3s, BGs, everything. So if you guys were wondering which classes are overpowered or the strongest classes in the game, this is a list basically created by the World of Warcraft community. This is all of their opinions from forums of MMO Champion, Wowhead, and etc. with a slight addition of what I think. Honestly, I didn't think I would put a Demon Hunter on this list because I felt like Demon Hunters on their own just are not quite at the level of a Windwalker and a Paladin, and it was hard for me to decide whether to have Frost Death Knight on the list or not. But keeping a video with just 2 classes, I felt like would have been a little bit dumb. Plus, Frost Death Knights, from my personal experience in arenas, have been seen to shred through people, and it looks like Demon Hunters are still very viable in 3s when it comes to just training one target back to back, so it seems like their power didn't decrease from previous patch. Of course, this video is only as viable as long as we are in the patch 7.3.2. So past this patch in 7.3.5 and on, there might be or might have been, depends when you watch this, some changes to these classes that might have made him a little bit stronger or maybe even a little bit weaker. At that point, this video is honestly become void. But as far as talking about in the patch 7.3.2, and if most of these patches aren't too different by patch 7.3.5, if you guys are looking for a really strong class to play in the game, be it as a healer or as a damage dealer, maybe even as a possible tank for PvE, because all these classes are great for PvE, I would say that these 4 are probably some of the strongest that you can take into Battle for Azeroth as a next expansion for World of Warcraft. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. This was kind of just a video I just kind of wanted to make because I was just perusing the forums. I've been really getting back into World of Warcraft. I play it every single day, but sometimes you have this massive feeling of, oh, I really want to play some World of Warcraft. I'm really excited. I have this awesome idea. Maybe you have some kind of a inspiration happening and hitting you. As I played every single day, and sometimes, or at least for the past month or so, I had almost zero inspiration when it comes to videos, but as of recent, I'm just spending time PvPing, actually doing a lot more PvE stuff, high-end keys and whatnot, playing a few more classes here and there, as well as just engaging a lot more with community. So I've been really happy doing that. So hopefully you guys enjoy this types of videos, because it helps out my schedule, keep it consistent, not just bomb you guys with 5.5.1 duels all day long. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and the content I do here, please go ahead and give this video a like. Likes allow my videos to reach out a bigger audience, and I love having this channel grow. I love watching this community grow, and I love seeing success of what you guys can accomplish together with me on this channel. Thank you all. If you haven't hit subscribe, you probably should, because I deliver 2 videos a day. If you want to catch the live streams, hit the notification bell down description below. If you guys have any of your own opinions of what you think is the strongest class in the game right now for patch 7.3.2 in Legion, feel free to voice your comments, suggestions, or complaints in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see all of you in the next one.